I trust myself to have my back through it all. And I trust that even if it doesn't work out with this person, I am still magnetizing the love I so deeply desire. And it is meant for me and it is mine. And you kind of...
Good. So good.
Yeah.
We could replace anything with this. It's time to stop spinning your wheels, wasting time, money, and energy building your brand alone on social media. Hi, I'm Sophia Spallino, the host of Social Equity, the podcast, here to help you build your own profitable personal brand, the social equity you can rely on to make the money that you deserve. Are you ready, Miss Future Millionaire? Let's get into it. What if I told you it gets to get better and better and better and better again? For everyone watching who is coming from my guest profile, Miss Jordan Timchal, I am Sophia Spallino, and I'm so excited that you are here today with me on Social Equity. I want to introduce you to my incredible guest, and this episode is going to be for you if you've experienced success and you're like, okay, I've done this big thing over here, but what happens if the next time I try to do a big thing, I crash and burn? This is for those of you who have experienced success, who have experienced beautiful moments in life, and who are a little nervous about what's happening next. Before I bring on my guest, I just want to go ahead and introduce her. But for those of you listening, you're like, oh, is this for me? Female entrepreneurs, service providers, coaches, I want you to welcome Jordan. Have a big dream. She's a former classical musician. As you can see, I play the harp. And Jordan also is a classically trained musician. She's a pianist turned digital influencer, and she is now focused on being your manifestation and personal coach. She's helping women curate both their internal and external worlds. I'm reading your bio, so my eyes might be over here. She lives out her purpose to support women in creating lives that don't just look, but truly feel magical. I know some of us have felt those magical moments and we're like, we want to feel it again. How do we get back to that place? So I really want to dive in here on that episode. She's supporting women in being powerful co-creators of their realities we're always meant to have. Welcome to Social Equity, Jordan.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I'm excited to be here with you. How is your day going? Beautiful in New York City?
It is a little gloomy, but it's going great. I'm here with you, so.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, how did you get started on this journey? Because you were a classical musician. Was that your full-time career? Tell me about your life.
Yeah. Well, there's so much overlap, which was a huge reason why I was so excited to chat with you, but I was raised very strict, fundamental Christian upbringing.
Oh my goodness.
Similar to you. And I wasn't allowed to pursue fashion, which was what I was so passionate about. Wow. I was into fashion, aesthetics, photography. I wanted to be a model or a designer. I had like a whole book of like my designs. I had collections, color coordinated. I was obsessed with fashion, and I couldn't wear what I wanted. I couldn't go into fashion because it was worldly and just, wasn't allowed to do that. I needed to pick something that was, Christ honoring. And so essentially I had been doing music my whole life, and I also was interested in law and had done some debate stuff. So I started in law, tried that, hated it. I was like, I am not meant to work a 9-to-5 or be behind a desk. I'm way too wild and creative. So I switched to music because I'd always done it. I was really good at it. I did enjoy it. Yeah. And I was doing it. And I just hated showing up for work. I had 2 days of private students who I adored, but then I worked for a school that was really unethical, and it was weekends, evenings, and I was just so unfulfilled. And I remember by this time I got married within the church very young.
Wow. Are you still in that marriage?
No. No, it was very disempowering and sexually abusive because of the way women are treated and kind of supposed to submit to men and be under their authority.
Yes,
yeah. But luckily he was less controlling and more open-minded than my family was. So I saw girls on Instagram posting their outfits and I was like, well, I can do that. Like, this looks so fun. So I Googled, how do you start a blog? Because like blogs were a thing. This was about 8 years ago.
Wow.
I put every spare second I had into posting my outfits on my blog and my Instagram. And it started to take off, and I started to come to New York for meetings, started to make a lot more money than I was making with music. And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm doing this. And I got so much, like, you know, backlash from friends and family at first, especially. And just was really difficult to do this thing that was already unconventional, but then also just, you know, you're calling attention to yourself. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be, you know, fitting in. But I'm an Aries, and I'm, you know, one of those people that kind of just like, I just kind of do what I want.
Yes.
And I just kept doing it. And I then got out of that marriage before COVID, right before
Wow.
COVID. And then COVID happened, and I was really sad on my ass. I was riddled with anxiety and fear, which I already had a lot of from just the shame and fear-based mindset from the church. But I just remember I followed the psychologist on Instagram, and that was like the start of my healing journey and really finding my own, first of all, like getting myself stable. I had so much trauma and abuse to heal from, but then I dove into my spirituality and actually I found a church that was actually preaching love, which I think is Elevation Church.
I love it.
Yeah. And so that was kind of my segue out of that strict Christian just mindset that is very fear and control based and more into a love based mindset. And then from there kind of have figured out my own spirituality and connection to my higher self and the divine. But then I trained to be a life coach, dove into that, but then I discovered manifestation and started diving into personal power, because it was like the trauma healing got me like stable. But then once I realized, like, wait, I get to create this reality. And I just really chose to step out of the victim mindset that I rightly had for most of my life and really take charge of what I was creating. And I did it. I really got into manifestation I wanted to find true love finally, because I had just been through a breakup. And I wanted to be financially free, and I wanted a beautiful apartment, because I decided to up and move across the country by myself to San Diego.
Wow.
And so I wanted an apartment there. And so that's why I came to manifestation, hoping to get. And then I started just feeling better and better and better. And I started showing up differently. And that ended up being the true gift, is like, I feel so good. I'm so happy. I'm so fulfilled. I'm so in my purpose. I have so much peace. And I realized, like, that is the best gift of all. Like, the external stuff we manifest from that state is pretty great, but the way I feel is the best gift you could ever get, I think. So
100%. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
Can we just like back up a moment? First of all, we have so much in common with the religious trauma. And like now I found my way back to God, but it took me some time because the church did hurt me so much as a queer woman, like hearing those messages that were so damaging to my spirit. And also something you said that was interesting is you found the psychologist account that really like turned your life around and started your healing journey. That was that pivotal moment. And it's like, will that psychologist ever know the impact that they made on your life? And that just goes to tell you, like, you don't know who you're speaking to all the time. At the end of the day, sales, social media, it's a numbers game. We're always getting more visibility, and we're always trying to reach more people so we can go after what I call the one, our ideal client. And like the way Jesus says, like, go after the one, like leave the 99 and really focus on who your ideal client is and how you help her. But at the end of the day, it is a numbers game to get to that one that is actually going to invest in your service. And so people along the way, you'll inspire them, but you'll never really know the impact that you made in their life. And that psychologist probably doesn't even know, but look how that changed everything. Like that piece of content changed everything. So sending so much abundance, that psychologist's way for changing your life. It's a ripple effect.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm manifesting. Maybe someday she'll come on my podcast, but you're right. She might never know. And it's so wild to me. And this is why I think I resonate with so much of what you share in your message, and just how it's really about showing up authentically and sharing your heart. That is our gift to give. And it's blown my mind, the messages I'll sometimes get from something that I was like, just led to share it, and it wasn't part of a strategy or anything. It was just like, I need to say this and nobody's probably going to care, and then it like touches people.
Oh, yeah.
So it really is so important to like to be tuned into yourself and like share from your heart authentically.
I love that. And right now, so you're still doing fashion. This is what I love about you. You're taking the things you love, but you're also coaching too. And that's what I do. I do a mix of like my true personal brand and coaching. So what does that look like for you? Is there strategy to this? Do you actually just share who you are? And then do you have a sales strategy? What does that look like as a business owner?
Yeah, it's been interesting because most of my career thus far has been through brand partnerships.
Okay.
And I have been navigating because I started coaching about 2.5 years ago. I'm kind of navigating shifting more into coaching as my main business, because I really love that, and that really lights me up. And my podcast, I love having these kinds of conversations and sharing them with the world and empowering women. So I really have just been sharing more and more of my story, and that really is what has resonated and magnetized clients, them hearing me either share my story because they resonate with who I am and what I've been through and what I've overcome, or I'm sharing lessons and tips and strategies and tools for, becoming emotionally available to yourself, healing trauma, regulating your nervous system, manifesting. Then they're like, okay, I get value from this. Like I want more. So that has been my strategy with coaching, but I actually have a lot to learn from you, I think, and how to more strategically share my story. So I'm excited to learn more from you about that. And yeah.
Thank you. And thanks for sharing that. I mean, that so far it's worked out for you. There's so many different ways you go. You could coach people continuing the way you're doing now, or even in the future, if you feel led, you could coach people on how to get these amazing brand deals that have given you the lifestyle that you have.
True.
So there's always that. But I know you're probably so focused on making the impact on the hearts and the minds, which is amazing. But it's so cool that you've accomplished so much. And yes, strategic storytelling is wild. And what I love about it is I just got off of a successful sales call with someone coming into my program. And most of the women who come in are queer. About 85% right now are queer. The rest are incredible allies. She wasn't gay. She came in through doing a lot, like watching someone that she trusted go live with me, and then was like, oh, I want to be in the program. And I was like, well, I love that you're here from that live, but what really connected you with me? And she's like, oh, your story. But I'm not gay, but like your story still, it's exactly how I felt when I was in this cult. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So we all have these same feelings of, what did you share earlier? The shame and the feeling that you can't be yourself, or you have to be submitting to a man. Well, all of these messages, even if it's not exactly the same story, the power of storytelling is we see ourselves as someone who came in, who wasn't supposed to win, and who ends up being the hero, right? Like, every good story starts with someone who wasn't supposed to make it, who wasn't supposed to win, who wasn't supposed to beat the giant, but then we do. And when we share that and we first connect with people, people connect with us and relate so deeply, and we can build immediate trust with someone from relating first through pain before we relate through pleasure. And so that's why sharing your story works. Like, if you didn't know why, that is why sharing your story has worked, because you are relating to people with pain, and then they're able to look at what you've gone through and kind of like insert themselves into the movie the way we watch like Lord of the Rings. I'm not even into that kind of movie, but when I watch those scenes and they're like slicing the head off, you're like, yeah, like you're in it, but like you've never been a warrior. We're all warriors in our lives in some way. So, that's the power of storytelling. And the three key components that people are going to always relate to, anyone watching who's building their brand or simply wants to relate human to human, because that's how we connect, build relationships, sell. It's going to be connecting first through our pain and then through our values. Being like, oh, okay, so we vibe like that. And it also helps if you want to be like, yeah, that's not how we do it. And it's not necessarily pointing out bad about someone else, but like, that's not our thing. This is our thing. And creating that like, okay, we're not like those Christians, because, right? Like we can We can vibe like that. And that's that connection. And then lastly, through your vision. So you're paying your values and your vision where you're going, not just telling the story of where you've come from to where you are, but then telling where you're going next and where you're going to lead your clients if they come along for the journey.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, this makes sense. And it makes sense what I've been doing that does work.
Yes.
And doesn't work. Yeah. Okay. I love that. And no, it's so true. And I feel like whenever I do talk about my story, even just one-on-one meeting people, because I end up at so many events and meetings and stuff in New York still, it's always my story that people are like, oh, like they lean in. You're right. And I want to hear people's story. Like, who are you? Where did you come from? Like, what made you you? So
exactly. Yeah. Storytelling is the most powerful thing. Now, for people who have started their manifestation journey, while I have you on here, I want to pick your brain.
Oh, go for
it. They've already created incredible things in their life and they're kind of just missing one thing.
Yeah.
And they can't figure out why they're wobbly about that. You've been able to really master it all. So how do you get out of the one sticky topic and lose the wobbles for that? That thing that's like, you're like, but there's evidence that I've sucked at this again and again and again, even though I can manifest everything else. How do you get out of that?
There is probably wounding, past wounding that has happened that is making whatever you want unsafe to your nervous system. We cannot manifest anything that doesn't feel safe to our nervous system. It is our body and brain's way of protecting us. So, for example, you are just dying. Like maybe you've manifested all the money, dream apartment, dream life, dream friends, but you just can't get that loving life partner that you want. There is something. Oh, girl, okay. Perfect. So what is it that comes up for you when you are entering into dating relationships, or maybe it is you can't even find it? Spend time with yourself and start getting clear on anything that doesn't feel good is a signal that there are limiting beliefs that often come from trauma and past wounding. So if you can identify them and you can rewire them while doing nervous system regulation work, so EFT tapping or breath work, they neutralize the trigger because they move that energy. When you bring it up, if you can move that energy, you can heal it and neutralize it, which is then going to make your nervous system not like this when you start attracting what you want. Because a lot of people will attract what they want, but then they can't hold it or keep it.
Push it away because I'll be like, wait, this feels too weird. Like if someone's too nice to me because I'm used to being treated pretty poorly in relationships, I don't know how to handle it. And then I get like the ick, and I don't want to get the ick for good people.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So when you start finding yourself pushing people away, I think instead you need to lean into whatever uncomfortable feelings are coming up for you. Why is that not feeling safe?
Yeah.
Why is somebody moving towards you and treating you well not feeling safe? And kind of dig into that. But then also something else you can do that is, I love EFT tapping for this because I can literally walk you through a tapping right now. So say for example, so okay, somebody's come into your life, you really like them, but you're starting to push them away because they're being nice to you. You can, so first, this is called emotional availability, where you actually embrace the feelings, accept them, and validate yourself. So I would start doing a tapping, and you can just do on the side of your hand to start. And you could go through, even though...
Raise your hand so I could see real quick. Okay. Oh, you're good. And we just got a message from Kay. She says, is this hyper-independence?
Hyper-independence. It could, yes, you could call it hyper-independence. It's essentially, though, you don't feel safe relying on somebody else. You don't feel safe letting other people in. You don't feel safe with intimacy, which often means you are not fully intimate with yourself. And once you build that emotional intimacy with yourself, you're going to find it a lot easier to be able to be emotionally intimate with other people. A lot of people don't realize that the reason why they're not attracting emotionally available partners is because they're not emotionally available to themselves first.
Oh,
yeah. Relationships are mirrors. Everything is a mirror.
But yeah, I tend to just like work or help people, like help my clients rather than think about the hard things, right?
Do you struggle to receive?
It depends. If I'm in a relationship with someone, I'm like sugar daddy me. But if I'm not, absolutely not. I don't want to receive anything. I want to be 100% taking care of me and in control
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that I'm saving and being very smart with my finances. Yeah.
What about receiving, like being emotionally cared for, acts of kindness?
Yes, I love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for the EFT, so this is emotional freedom technique is what it's called. So you can start by getting out everything. I like to start with getting out exactly how I'm feeling and forgiving myself for that. So even though I am pushing away the love that I so deeply want, and I'm frustrated at myself, and I'm discouraged, and I'm hopeless, and I feel like I'm just never going to have the love that I really deeply want, I deeply love and forgive and accept myself. And even though I feel like I keep doing it and I'm sabotaging myself and I can't figure out why, I deeply love and forgive and accept myself. And even though this is a really difficult situation and I am struggling to know how to help myself through this, I deeply love and forgive and accept myself.
Oh, this is so good.
And just, you got to get it all out there, everything, especially the angst against yourself.
Yes. And does this work for someone who's like struggled in business where they're like, I'm struggling to start. I'm struggling to trust myself to start. Can these same techniques work?
Yeah. So you will go through and you got to get everything out. And once you get it all out and you love and forgive and accept yourself, and then I'll often validate myself. Then I'll start, because you'll oftentimes, when you start to, this tapping on the meridian points, it helps regulate your nervous system. So it puts you into slower brainwave state, alpha state, which is when your brain is in beta or high beta. That's when we're like, doing, hustling, busy. High beta is like anxiety, spiraling thoughts. It's really hard to connect to yourself. It's really hard to hear your higher self. Yeah. And it's really hard to just be able to receive and create and be open in the present moment to the universe and to guidance from God, from ourselves. So this helps regulate you. It gets you in a calm state. So you can think clearly and calmly, and you can actually process these emotions and clear them. So you'll get it all out, whether it's blocks with your business, blocks with yourself, blocks with money, blocks with men, whatever it is. Get it all out. And then oftentimes, because you're in this calmer state and a more thoughtful state, you'll have past stuff come up. Yeah. So for me, I have deep abandonment wounding that I've done a lot of work on. So then I start being like, it makes so much sense that you're so scared of being left, because you were left by your first boyfriend and it devastated you and crushed you, and you'll start getting up the situation. So trauma is anything that happened that was a big experience and we didn't know how to process those emotions. So they stay stuck. Yeah. Stay stuck. And this brings that stuff back up. And through the tapping, we're able to clear it and neutralize those emotions, move those emotions. So we're removing that block. And then I use the EFT tapping to then program what I want to believe. And now I am choosing to receive love because I know it is safe to receive love. I know that it is safe for me to let somebody in. It is safe for me to step into this unknown situation where, you know what, I'm not in control, but I'm actually never in control. Control is just an idea I have in my head. But what I am in control of is I can take care of me and I have my back, and I trust myself to open myself up emotionally to this person and let them in, because I know this is what I truly want. And I trust myself to learn how to sit with myself through the uncomfortable emotions that come up through opening up to this person. And I trust myself to have my back through it all. And I trust that even if it doesn't work out with this person, I am still magnetizing the love I so deeply desire. And it is meant for me and it is mine. And you kind of
good. So good. Yeah. We could replace anything with this. It's like, and even if, this today I don't get a new client, it doesn't matter because tomorrow I will, and like just continue down the line. Now I am OCD. I'm like, if I tap this hand for 50 times, do I need to tap this hand for 50 times?
You can do that. So the actual EFT tapping, you do all the meridian points: top of head, forehead, temples, cheeks, above your lip, below your lip, collarbones, under your armpit, and then the karate chop point.
Wow. Okay.
But this is something like if I'm in the car, on the way to a meeting, and I'm like freaking out that they're not going to like me and accept me because, of that abandonment wounding and people pleasing that came from trying to create safety for myself growing up. Like I will sit and just tap, like I'm really anxious, I'm really scared, makes sense from what I went through. And I know that if they don't like me, they weren't meant for me. I can't block anything that's meant for me.
Yes.
And it's so much more powerful than affirmations, because affirmations alone are kind of emotionally bypassing. You've got to get out those uncomfortable feelings and hold yourself. Like if you were a little girl, like you would hold her and be like, baby girl, like I know like this is so hard and it makes sense and you're having a hard time and it's okay and I love you. And then once you are able to like hold yourself and feel those emotions and process them and shift them, then you can start putting in the positive affirmations.
I love it. That's so good. Like validating, okay, it has been hard. This thing hasn't happened. But, and I always say like, but God, and I'm going to do it. But there's going to be a shift. I love that. Thank you so much. It's so crazy how knowledgeable you are. I think for better or worse, I'm just going to say this, like people could look at your profile and be like, she's just a pretty girl, right? Like she's just a pretty girl. Life is easy for her. She's got like the dream influencer life. But in reality, you've come through so much and you have so much knowledge to give. Like what you just shared was just as impactful as me going to a EMDR therapy session.
It's so great because it's so quick and easy and you can do it yourself.
And
yeah, like so this is honestly emotional availability though. So like if you are wanting to be emotionally available, so you attract that in a partner, like this is like condensed emotional availability.
I love it. And I love that breakthrough in my head that it just clicked for me for sure. I'll shoot you a DM to be like, you got to hear this. But that makes so much sense. What about financial availability, business availability? What would be the go-to affirmations or mantras that you would share with my audience?
So what's so interesting is love and money are so connected, and abandonment wounding with people, you probably have that energy with finances. So honestly, it's kind of it's similar work. You've got to start seeing how you interact with money. Are you constantly afraid that it's going to run out? Are you afraid to spend money? Start analyzing your money habits with calling in money and with releasing money, and what anxiety and fears come up for you, and start getting them out, accepting and validating them, and then being like, but this doesn't work anymore. This isn't serving me anymore. I want this better belief. And for me, some of my favorite money affirmations are money loves me. I always make more than I spend. I am so taken care of and supported by money. Anything that feels good.
I love it. Always make more than I spend. I have a little alert that pops up every day at like 4 o'clock. That's like the more I spend, the 20 times. Actually, I probably have it pulled up here, but it's like for everything I spend, 20 times more comes in.
Oh, girl, I love that.
Yeah, and it used to be 10, but then I was like, no, we can go bigger.
I need to go bigger. You're inspiring me to go bigger. 20 is amazing.
Whatever your dream is, I think it's so important to have people around you to go like, okay, let's come up with something bigger, because wherever you thought your energetic maximum could be, there's so much more. So right now my highest month was 53,000, but I'm scaling to consistency at 50,000 right now. And I thought that was a really big goal. But then last night I talked to my friend who's scaling to consistent $500,000 months.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, Sophia, we need to go bigger. We need to go bigger. And if you're not dreaming bigger, it's time to get around people who are dreaming bigger, so you know it's possible for you.
Yes.
Like for your audience, I have to say, I didn't know it was possible to be a powerful queer woman. I thought gay women only looked a certain way, more top way, no makeup, just Ellen, like I thought you had to look like Ellen to be gay. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not who I am. So I didn't see myself represented, and I didn't have a vision of what my life could be like. I never saw anything but lesbians that were very tomboy, and I heard negative things about them in the South and in the church. So for me, I never thought, I could identify with that. I was like, we'll just push that away. I must be bi. Like, there's no way I could just be full-blown lesbian. There's no way. And then I waited till marriage to have sex with my husband and went through that whole thing.
I did too.
Learned that. You did too? Oh my gosh. But you're straight though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But
it was still a terrible experience.
I'm so sorry for what you went through, though, just to say.
Me too.
Oh my God.
Me too.
He was not, that's the one thing that I can say. He was not sexually abusive, but in
That's
fact, like I really tried, and looking back now as a lesbian, I'm like, damn, like I did every bit of effort. I would put on lingerie. I would try to be like the most desirable thing for him. But when he'd see me put effort, he would actually reject me just to be mean. And then he would want it whenever I was not mentally there, not in the mood.
Oh.
Yeah. So
That's
it
not
was like
healthy.
this. No, it was really horrible. And like looking back, I'm like, no wonder you weren't really in the mood. It was a man. But I was really trying. And if he was good to me, you know, I made a promise to God, I would have stayed forever. But the mental abuse was just not. And there were things that were like getting scarier and scarier physically. So there's just, it was time to get out. So I'm sorry for whatever you went through physically. And I love that you're an example to women that like, no matter what, no matter where you came from, no matter who tried to keep you down,
you can overcome
rise.
anything.
Yeah.
But I love that about you too. And I love that you are also, what you're doing is so brave. It sounds like you can relate. It's so hard to do things that you haven't seen done before, which is why it's so important to like being your full authentic self and this beautiful, gorgeous lesbian who loves makeup and fashion, like, because you're going to help other women do that. You don't know, like you said, full circle, who needs you until you start doing it and you see the people that you're able to serve. So
Amen.
I celebrate what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the honoring words. I see my client here. I am Lauren Courtney. She has been through it too, and she's got a great story to tell. And I just love seeing women empower women. And like you said, no one. So I had this realization the other day, actually with one of my team members, and she looked at me and she said, "So what you're telling me is you're going to be the gay Tony Robbins?" And I was like, yes, that's where we're going. That's where we're going. And she's like, well, no one's ever done that before. So I have on my wall, I am the queer Tony Robbins, because there is no woman that I can look to that's done it before. So I'm taking my audience on that journey of like, I don't know how we're going to get there, but we're going there. So
that's
I love
so
that.
vulnerable that you're like sharing your dreams publicly. I really love that and respect that.
Oh, thank you. Someone said, who's Tony Robbins? He's the most popular guru lifestyle coach. Now he's even shifted into business, but he started out with lifestyle. And for me, I'm like, okay, I love what I'm doing in business. I always want to empower women, but I want to go way more. Like I want to change people's hearts on a deeper level and be spiritual and do things that the queer community hasn't gotten the opportunity to do yet. Because I think we're in the closet and then we come out of the closet and then we realize that, okay, now that we're out, the spiritual people don't like us so much, the religious people, should I say?
Yeah.
And then if we lean in towards, oh, but I still resonate with the spiritual thing, then maybe the queer people feel still angry. So they're like, well, we don't resonate with that. So it's like, where do you belong? And it's like, if we just all feel safe to be ourselves, that's where we belong.
You need to reclaim that.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Queer people, like, yeah, the spiritual space. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I love it too. I love that you like came from such a rigid background. How young were you when you started studying music?
5.
Me too. Harp was 5.
That's right. I forget you're also a classical musician.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got your harp there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were chatting about this in DMs. Wait, can I ask you
anything?
A question?
Anything.
Okay, so I love that you called out that my feed, it's like it looks like it's just a pretty girl. What do you have any thoughts, or what would you think? What should I do to get help, like people? Because my podcast, I talk about this stuff. But you're right. If you find me on Instagram, you think I'm just fat.
Like, let me actually pull up your feed on my computer so I can get like a fresh eye on it, because I obviously looked at it, but I want to like see right here. Hold on. The one thing that I can say though, just off the bat, is I would love to see more videos of you talking. So it's not necessarily posting for visibility. It's posting for the one that needs to hear your story. And it's actually going to be treating Instagram a little bit like TikTok. And it feels really uncomfortable for people like you who are perfectionists that have these gorgeous feeds.
Yep.
But you'll realized really quickly that when you start actually speaking to the one, when you're diving deep into her needs, it's going to be doing the selling for you. So I always ask myself, what's better, a pretty feed or more money in my bank account? And then that's where I lean into, like, I'm challenging myself not to put cover photos on everything right now anymore, and really just show up more frequently than making it perfect, and recycling copy, but putting fresh videos up rather than being like, oh, I got to write a whole new caption for this. Really recycling and getting clear on using my own content to profit model, where I'm able to recycle and produce. That comes from my heart, and that's easy to produce. That's really efficient to produce, and just getting more content out there. But looking at you, so the Magical Human Experience, that's your podcast, right? Freaking love that power pose of you. It's so hot. It's like, I'm the one to solve this problem. Let's make your experience magical. I love
and my glitter suit.
Yes, fabulous. I love the color. I love how everything's very cohesive. And I mean, you're showing up as someone who's in their wealth era, who is strong in who they are. But I would have never known that you had the knowledge that someone who would show up in a hippie way online would have, right? Because they're sitting there like in their pajamas doing their tapping, and you have your cocktails. So they're like, oh, this girl's like not spiritual because she drinks, which I think is such some bullshit.
Same.
I love my cocktails. I love my red wine. I don't smoke weed, which no judgment to people who do. It's like everyone has their way to relax, right? And sometimes it's worship, and sometimes it's a glass of red wine. You know, it is what it is. I freaking love
on my wall. Sometimes it's worship, sometimes it's red wine.
You know what? I should coin that.
You need that on your wall.
Put it on your wall. Sometimes it's worship, sometimes it's red wine. What do you need? It's so good. But helping you step into your highest, most magnetic self so you can manifest the life of your dreams, and really getting into very clearly, like, what does life of your dreams look like? So are you speaking to someone who's coming from fashion industry or coming from music industry that you left? If you get more clear on who you're helping, it's crazy, but you actually make more money. And it feels really weird, but there's this thing that I call the big money mindset versus the small town mindset and small bank account mindset. And so my parents had a pretty successful jewelry store, but their small town mindset was serve everyone. So you could come in and you could buy a $40,000 engagement ring in cash and be the richest man in town. You could also be the poorest person in town coming sell their grandma's gold whenever she passed away to make your rent, right? They had to serve everybody, but we get to live in this day and age where we get to reach millions of people around the world with one click if you're able to make strategic content, right? And if you're able to tell a good story. So I was always told by my business mentors who have made millions, who have brick and mortar businesses or more traditional business models, Sophia, there's not enough queer women to build $1 million movement. So as much as I listened to my business coach and wanted to listen to someone who's making a lot of money online, I was stuck in this. I'm going to try to satisfy the mentors in real life and like not niche down so much online. But the moment that I was able to niche down online, I was able to really, really speak even more clearly and be able to build connections and community that's ultimately going to lead to way more than just a one-time sale, but clients that are obsessed with being in your presence, being in your community. Yeah.
That's such a shift from scarcity to abundance too.
Yes.
So much of our problems come from a scarcity mindset that people don't realize this. But yeah, it's like that's a scarcity mindset to think you need to serve everybody instead of your dream client.
Yes, exactly. And so for you, it's like, who is that? Like, where did she come from? Because, and even if you don't speak to where she came from before, honestly leaning into the whole, because this was my thing for a while, and like, if this sparks something in you, I want to like pass the baton. But I started with like, you can be bougie and spiritual.
I love that. I want my Prada, and I'm also going to be meditating every morning.
Yes. And so I know that I bring that into my content now, but that's truly like who I was before I came out of the closet. And then it pivoted. But I see that in you. And so if you could call up that girl who feels like me, who was like stuck in the in-between of like, well, I'm too wanting to be rich for the spiritual community. And I'm too spiritual for just the bougie community who wants to sit and have cocktails and only gossip. Then like, where do I fit in? And
Yeah.
you're creating this community for that woman.
So that's literally
This could have been a private consult, girl.
Yeah, that's been my struggle, is finding my people, like, and finding what felt good for me, because I did feel bad for so long. Wow, this is wild. I didn't think about this, but yeah, I would feel so bad. But I love my fashion. Like and I use style to manifest. I realized I didn't even know what manifestation was. I was dressing like the women that I looked up to, who looked happy and confident and successful and powerful, and I was making outfits like that, and I would wear them and I would start to feel that way and I would start to act that way, and I literally manifested the version of myself that I became through dressing. So I think 100% such a tool for manifestation. But also, I don't want to gossip. I want to talk about ideas and make the world a better place and love on people and become my highest self. And you're right.
But people don't know that. People don't know that. So it's like, kind of like, well, you could sit at that table or you could sit at our table. Both look the same on the outside, but on the inside, the conversation is going to look like this. And creating content like that would be like, people would just be so drawn. The right women would be so drawn. So funny. Kay says meditates in Gucci slides. Yes and amen.
Yes. I love you.
Last night I spent $5,000 at 1 a.m. preparing for my Ibiza trip. I wanted this Versace swimsuit or at least a version of this Versace swimsuit for, I think, 3 years now. And I remember I was dating a guy before I came out of the closet. He's wonderful, but everyone thought he was my sugar daddy because I engineered TikToks to make us famous with that narrative. Okay. So I was doing like the bougie right thing. This man never bought me nice things ever. He was so much older than me. We were best friends. And if I wasn't gay, I would have been with him forever because we were best friends and I was helping him build his personal brand. Now he's back to being a multimillionaire, which is amazing. I don't want to say his name, but like, if you just Google Sophia Spallino's boyfriend, you'll see him pop up and it's like, oh, that guy, that one. Okay. So no, he's doing great now. But at the end of the day, like, I always wanted this Versace swimsuit. And I remember showing it to him, or a variation of the swimsuit, and him being like, we can't do that right now. And he really never bought me anything our entire relationship. One pair of Chanel shoes, and I always tell people half a YSL bag. I put the other $1,000 down on it.
Right.
But that was after dating for years. And we were together for 3 years. But I remember showing him this swimsuit. And I remember like showing him, and I was working for him. And it was like, man, I'm working so hard. Like, if I don't really get paid a lot, like, I'll never be able to buy these things for myself. I'm giving him all my time. I'm devoted. And I remember just going back to what I'd call my room, which was like my office. And I just cried. I wanted this swimsuit so bad. It's just a Versace swimsuit. Like, I don't know how much it costs. That's the thing now. Like, I wanted it, so I bought it last night. But I think it's under $400 or $600. Like, that's not end of the world, like, money.
No.
And I just was bawling. And then I bought an $800 set last night as well, and like thousands of dollars in shoes and clothes. And it's like, I get to do whatever I want now. And just so you know, if you're ready for me to blow your mind, because Jordan, this is really crazy how much we have in common. I studied fashion. That was my degree in school.
No way.
Yeah.
Wait, this is so synchronistic. This is weird. This is what the universe does. You magnetize great people.
It's crazy. Yeah. I studied fashion and minored in business. So for me, it's about craftsmanship, and it's about the just vast respect that a brand has been able to harness over generations, where people can look at it and go like, that means something. She knows, like, she's someone when she walks in the room. And I know there's like the old money doesn't shine and the new money wears all the labels and blah, blah, blah. But for someone who didn't get to do it and who studied it, I'm wearing the labels because I'm so proud that I can. Daddy Mel says, blow my mind. Let us know what your type is, Sophia. That's so funny. I have so many different types, but it always comes down to spiritual and someone driven. Someone who's really passionate about changing the world in their own way. So yeah.
That's a great type.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to your profile though.
I do want to quickly say though, if you need Ibiza Rex, I love it. Ibiza is also geographically a really magnetic spot and powerful spot for manifestation. It's like very divine feminine energy. So I love it. If you need Rex, let me know. And also, girl, manifest those $500,000 months there.
I know. I'm so excited. So the trip,
Yeah.
I won. That's how magnetic I won. And it's a lesbian festival in a luxury
Yes.
resort, and I won it. And all I have to do is like show up and be fabulous. So
Yeah, this is going to be such a cool trip for you. I feel like amazing things are going to happen.
I know. I feel like this eat, pray, love energy, like anything can happen. I'm so excited. I've been healing my heart and being intentional. And then I'm going to go. I bought a one-way ticket, and I've never been really comfortable traveling by myself. I've never been to Europe either. But I'm going to go to Italy right after Ibiza, and I will be on my own without any of my friends that I will know from that trip. I'm just going to head out. So there's that.
It's going to be a magical trip for you. I think it's going to be life-changing.
I know. I feel it. Okay. Thank you for confirming that. Okay. Next, on your profile, can we get some text in the pictures? If you love posting carousels and you feel like they're performing, the way that you post your picture and then you've got text on the second slide, could you start putting that in the first slide? I think for you, it's about like it's going to fuck up the feed.
Yep.
Sorry. Didn't mean to say that.
Oh, no.
But like it's not about the feed. It's going to be about who you're feeding with your words, right? And they don't necessarily know. And then they land and they're like, oh, she's gorgeous, but she's just a model. Like she's just one of those fashion influencers. And you're so much more. So that, and then just your videos, more videos.
Maybe that's my tagline, so much more than an Instagram model.
100%. So much more than an Instagram model, and like ending your podcast, like you're so much more than what people think you are. And it's okay to be one way on the outside, but on the inside have so much depth. And like, this is the table you sit at to have wine and worship.
Yes. Girl, this is magic right now happening.
I always say like my podcast could be free training. They're free trainings, but I could charge, or the master classes I could charge for, because I love what I do. That's the difference. Like I really love it. I geek out on it. And then your reels, amazing that you're doing them. Let's see, when was your last one? How frequently are you doing them? Oh yeah, girl, you need to be doing reels more frequently.
Yeah, I do.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're leaving money on the table there. And like telling stories with your reels, that actually inspire people to get to know who you are and then take action with what you do. Right now I'm seeing like, okay, you're probably getting paid by this restaurant, which by the way, great ad for whatever I'm watching, or great, the universe is trying to romance you. Like you're tagging these places. I love it. One, visibility. Two, you're probably making money from it. But then beyond that, it's like, okay, in between these pieces of content, can you sell your coaching?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm missing. Yep.
Yeah. And I think you're a little bit nervous to probably sell so blatantly. But if you don't, then people don't realize the depth of who you are. So in between these beautiful pieces of content, sell your coaching, and realize that you can sell your coaching in beautiful ways. It doesn't have to look like mine. That's just like so simple and raw, or it could. And then you overlay a beautiful picture of yourself as the cover photo, and then you're able to tolerate it in your feed.
Or I don't know. I've been really, for about a couple of years now, been thinking like, do I just fuck the feed? Like, why do I like? I don't know. I might be at that point where I'm like, I don't need it to be coherent anymore. Like,
it depends on where your revenue is coming from. If your revenue is coming from brand deals that are attracted to you based on a feed, and these are fashion brand deals, then you're probably going to want to maintain some level of it. I don't know like what your buckets are, your percentages, but for me, there was a point where I gave up one of my brand deals on Instagram that it was very consistent revenue, so I could go full into business coaching, but I still kept them on TikTok. So it's like, that's the decisions you have to make. Yeah. And you can do both. You can totally do both.
It's true. We can have it all and we can do it all.
Amen. Well, this is an amazing conversation, Jordan. I'm so glad we got this time together.
Likewise.
And how does my audience find you if they're like, I want to work with her, I want to learn from her, I want to listen to her podcast?
Yeah, so I have in my link in my bio, I have a link tree, and you can book a single session. If you want to test out coaching with me, you can book a discovery call to just chat about what it would even look like. I also have my podcast where I really dive into this. I have a whole episode on how to be emotionally available to yourself. And in the show notes, the links are all there as well. But yeah, link in bio, link in my podcast show notes. Podcast is the magical human experience. But yeah.
I'm like
Also
getting nosy. I'm like, what's trust and manifest? I want to know what this is in your link tree. What is that?
Oh, I have a clothing subscription service. So you can rent clothing. It's like $100 a month, $120 a month. And you can have up to 10 pieces at a time, but you could swap them multiple times a month. So you could have up to 30 pieces, and they're great brands. Like Nicole Miller.
Own this?
I have it in partnership with like an actual company that like does the back end for me, but this is like my website and my like selection of stuff that's on kind of close to my brand or my brand. Yeah, so it's a clothing rental service.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, so $100 a month, you can rent clothes for your content, have fresh clothes. Ladies, this is incredible. I love it. If you're a content creator and you need fresh clothes. Oh my gosh. Okay. This BCBG dress with the sleeves. Okay.
You should
I love
it. You should sign up for the free month for your Ibiza trip and just get 10 things to take with you.
It's amazing. Well, the thing is, I don't know how long I'm going to stay. I kind of got a one-way ticket, and I'm like, I could be there for a long time. And I did think about that last night instead of spending $5,000, but I was like, I kind of want to like know, like I can do this now and just have that fun. But I will tell you this, I've only ever rented a ball gown. I've never rented other like clothing. So this would be really cool for me to explore when I get back. So yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing.
You're so welcome.
And if your audience is listening, I have the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. And what's so cool about my program is, first of all, I genuinely care about my clients. I love energetics, but I don't just teach that. I hand people loads of strategy and then help you cherry pick what's going to be right for you and your business. So when you come in, there's 5 different phases that are proven to help you build your brand in 6 months or less, starting with branding foundations, offer formulation, content creation, client attraction, and systems, processes, and automations. Those are the 5 phases. I walk you through it in 6 months. And then there's bi-weekly live coaching and ongoing support. So you never fall off the bandwagon. It's not a course you pick up, you put down, because I'm sure a lot of you have invested in courses to build something and then never actually follow through, which is why when people work with you one-on-one, right, it's like you get results because you're being held accountable.
Yep.
This is a group program, which makes it affordable, but it is in a style that allows for you to have that support and to get the live coaching and get spotlight coaching and have support between the coaching, which is really powerful. So if you're curious about that, DM me PPV. I've grown my audience to over 400,000 followers. I've helped build multiple brands and harness millions upon millions and millions of views and thousands of dollars. So I know what I'm talking about. Proof is in the pudding. Before I was a business coach, I built a agency for building people's brands and did it for them before I did this as a coach. And there's a lot of people out there who never had a successful business before they coach. So I'm big on sharing, like, actually work with someone, even if it's not me, who's done it before for themselves and has leveraged the power of social media to make money. And if you feel the call to work with me, DM me PPB and we could talk about it and jump on a call. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I'm so lit up by this call. This was really, really nice to connect. Where do you live? I want to like grab a wine with you.
I know. Me too. I live in Lafayette, Louisiana, and you're in the city of New York?
I am homeless at the moment. My stuff is in storage still in LA. It's just fun for dramatic effect. Stuff is in LA. I thought I was going to move back. I'm in between Philly and New York right now, but moving back to New York. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's so exciting. I hear it's really challenging to like get a broker and find a place to live in New York. Like really a big challenge.
I've done it twice before. So I'm like, but I've become so magnetic. I literally, when the time is right, I think this is what I want. I put it out there and I just magnetize shit. Like it gets to be so much easier than we think.
It really does. It really does. I love that. I love that you're so confident in it. I have a friend who's also like a spiritual manifestation coach, and she was like, oh yeah, when I want the house, and then boom, the house came, and it was like the dream house, and it was perfect and just lovely. Oh, Dandra says, love you guys. Wine and worship. Love, love, love.
That's such a nice comment.
Okay, well, when we say that in our content, it's going to be our inside joke now that like it came from this call.
I love it. I love it.
Wine to worship. Have an amazing day, my friends. If you
You too.
enjoyed this episode, go follow Jordan at Jordan. Let me look it up. Okay, Jordan Laurelle.
Yeah.
That is spelled Laurelle. And my name is Sophia Spallino. Sophia, Sophia, and then Spallino, like spaghetti. Italian.
I love that. And you're also Italian, right?
I am.
I was raised by Italians.
I love it. I love it. So much in common.
So much.
Maybe we'll create music together one day. Maybe we'll speak on spiritual stages together one day. I don't know, but I really, really enjoy this.
I'm manifesting that. That's a great
I'm ready.
end on. Well, thank you for having me. And yes, thank you for sharing your offer and your handle as well for my audience here on Instagram who's hearing this. And this was so wonderful. I'm wishing you a beautiful trip to Ibiza.
Thank you. This is so much fun. I really love every guest that comes on, but I'm like, you feel like a sister. So
likewise, I'm manifesting we meet and we speak on stages together.
Okay, it's happening. See you soon.
Take care.
Bye, y'all. Congratulations for listening to another episode of the Social Equity Podcast. Every moment you invest in building your brand is contributing to your social equity. If you're an exhausted coach or service provider, or you're just getting started building your brand from scratch, I can't wait to give you the first steps to go from 0 to 5K months and advance to 10 to 20K months. But why should you take my word for it? Well, I've spent over 9 years in the industry, amassing over 350,000 followers across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as hosting a top charting podcast, building a successful service provider business, and coaching powerful women to build purposeful, profitable personal brands. So yeah, you should lean in and listen to the social media secrets, sales tips, marketing strategies, and mindset hacks I share. I want to help you build your dream business that makes real money, leveraging the power of a personal brand on social media. Because you're ready to quit wasting time on content that isn't working and start bringing in the money you deserve as a purpose-led coach or service provider, sharing your gifts with the world. So for a limited time, I'm giving away your first steps to go from 0 to 5K months and advance to 10K to 20K months. Grab my newly revamped Profitable Personal Brand Blueprint, the proven framework to build yourself a personal brand that motivates, inspires, and sells so that your business can thrive the way it should. Just go to the link in the show notes. To ask me questions in real time, join me on Instagram Live for the live podcast show. The schedule is always posted on my profile. My handle is @Sophia Spallino. And if you're tired of posting without a reliable strategy and posting without maximal profit, just like many of my clients were before, then you want to join the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Many of you asked how you can get me to coach you on building a profitable personal brand like the one I have. That's why I designed this coaching program, so you could have me coach you, guide you, and mentor you. This is for female coaches, service providers, and entrepreneurs who want to be known for purposeful work and build an extremely profitable personal brand on social media without wasting time. Whether you're a novice at creating or you're feeling stuck hitting a plateau in business that once had consistent revenue and need guidance, support, and coaching to get to your next level, book a strategy call to speak with either me or my team to see if we'd be the right fit to work with each other inside of the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Mind you, I am very selective and this coaching program is not for everyone because I'm only taking on serious, purpose-driven, and committed soul sisters inside of my community. If that's you, book your free strategy call now. The link is in the show notes. And if you feel yourself come alive and get excited to take radical responsibility for building your social equity, your personal brand that no one can take from you, leave a 5-star rating with a kind review wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to share the show with a powerful woman you know. And remember, with a positive mindset and a profitable personal brand, all things are possible. So go get up and go get what you want.